Alright, so there are a couple deck lists that, well, have really caught my attention as of late. So this one was a PPG weekly deck list. And the first thing I want to say here is this real? Question marking that statement really bad, because this is probably one of the craziest combinations of things that I've seen today. We're combining the Madolche engine of the Lone Fire Blossom, the Mesengelato, the Hoot Cake, and the Angeli, and we're combining it with the Stun engine of Fiendus, Guru, and Archer. This just seems like a giant hodgepodge of cards that was able to succeed in its tournament. So this is the first place Madolche Subterror deck list for everybody today. And like I said, question mark? Alright. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. We have one copy of Angeli, one copy of Hoot Cake, one copy of Mesengelato, and triple copies of the Pudding Soucior. That's it. We're on a, 7 card. We're literally using the Mesengelato to toggle for the Promenade, which is target one face-up card your opponent controls and one Madolche you control or in your graveyard. Negate the effects of that opponent's card, and if you do, return that monster to your hand. So we get recursion out of this, and then we get the ability to attach material, but we can't attach material. Well, I mean, we can, but I'm still perplexed by this. We have triple copies of the Fiendus, triple copies of the Guru, and one copy of the Nemesis Archer, along with the one copy of the Cyframe Driver, rounding up the monster lineup. Amazingly, we somehow managed to fit in very small parts of each engine. I mean, 7 and 6, and then we just hand-trapped it in between. Very interesting. 2 copies of Call by the Grave, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 copy of Mystic Mine, triple copies of Pot of Extrav. Honestly, considering the fact that, like, you don't really need your extra deck, I mean, you do for the Madolche side of the deck, but the fact that, like, the Subterror part just doesn't care is actually pretty cool. 1 copy of Terraforming and triple copies of the Hidden City. Then we have triple copies of Ghost Match. Considering these two engines are Earth, they actually have the indirect scenario of working with each other based on that, which is kind of cool. We have the 1 copy of the Promenade for bouncing back and attaching additional materials. 1 copy Metaverse, 2 copies of the Subterror Final Battle, and 2 copies of There Can Only Be One. Does this meet all the conditions? Dragon, Spellcaster, Fairy. Okay, so there's one confliction here, but alright, we have Warriors, Beast, and Fairy. So, like, that's actually kind of cool. So There Can Only Be One doesn't end up messing with the deck at all. Okay. We have 2 copies of Selene. Actually, this comes up. Considering the fact that most graveyards should be doing something by the point that you're getting to Selene. Alright, so we're able to kind of capitalize off of our spell plays. Alright. We're on Relinquished Anima for outing problem cards. I see we make this through the Fiendus. 1 Link Karibo, 1 Phoenix. I see we have 2 copies of Asa. So literally, Asa should be really free in this deck, considering the fact that we have access to everything within our 2 archetypes to make her for stepping on up into other things. Okay. 1 copy of Access Code Talker for generic destruction and OTK potential. And then this is where things start to get interesting. So it's triple glass full. So quick effect, you detach 1 material from this card, target a Madolche monster on your field. This turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by monster effects. And if a Madolche card is sent to your graveyard whilst the card is on your field, you can shuffle up to 2 cards from the graveyards into the deck. So we have our Graveyard Disruption here. And then we have our non-targeting disruption through TRME, so that way we can capitalize on what the opponent is attempting to do. And then we have 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Omega, wrapping up the main deck here. Side deck here we have 2 copies of Lancia, triple copies of the Nibiru Man, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster, 2 Imperial Iron Wall, 1 Imperial Order, and triple copies of Solemn Judgment, rounding out Madolche Subterror. Of all concoctions that I have seen as of late, this was not the one that I think we would be covering. So very, very interesting. I'm still not sure what possessed this mad lad to end up putting together this interesting combination of cards, let alone it actually functionally working. I think that's the part that amazes me most throughout this entire deck profile is we have found an underlying amount of synergy between these two strategies that really allows this combination of cards to be successful based on the metagame. And through this combination of cards, you get to fit in other combo pieces like the Gozens, and there can only be ones that allow these minimal card engines to work. I like this quite a lot. Very nice. And the last deck list we actually have here is a Sacred Beast deck list. Now, this was a list that ended up, what was it? It went 3-1 at a locals. I was watching the report on YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I think we're going to talk about this because a few people have we've really swept this deck underneath the rug. A lot of the OCG variants of this deck were abusing the triple skill drain. Probably one of the best approaches that we had to this deck was the massive capitalization of just, hey, look, big 4,000 beat stick, go burr, 4K, 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 and your opponent's just like, dude, what do you want me to do? Like, nothing, you're supposed to just scoop. Also, we are playing the Magician's Soul engine to capitalize on further draw power for the deck and make sure that we're going to be able to, do what our deck wants to do, and it's make big beat stick. Alright, so we have one copy of the Apprentice Illusion Magician Girl. Discard fodder, easy requirements to summon. It's literally everything that we could want in this deck. We have triple copies of Astral Blossom and Joy, Spring Generic Hand Trap. Yes, now we get into the cool stuff. Chaos Summoning Beast. So you contribute this card, special summon a Uriah, Haman, or Raphael from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard to add one Fallen Paradise from your deck to your hand. So this will actually end up recruiting for our really cool field spell, which we'll talk about here shortly. Then we have triple copies of the Dark Beckoning Beast. So when this card is normal summon, you can add one Uriah, one Haman, or one Raphael, or one card that specifically lists any of those cards in their card text from your deck to your hand. And you can only use this effect, the Dark Beckoning Beast, once per turn. And then during your main phase, you can normal summon one level 0 Fiend monster in addition to your normal summoner set. So actually it lets you bring out the Dark Summoning Beast as well if you open up with it, or you contribute into Fred here. So Dark Summoning Beast. So you contribute this card, special summoning Uriah, Haman, or Raphael from your hand or deck, ignoring your summoning conditions. Also, monsters you control cannot attack with this turn. Alright, that's fine. You only use this effect, Dark Summoning Beast, once per turn. You can banish this card from graveyard to add a Haman, Raphael, or Uriah from your deck to your hand. So this will actually just tutor for the additional pieces that you need. This card's actually pretty good. And then the Cheese Ball himself, the 4K, and then Triple Magician Soul. And then our other copy of our 4K machines. Then we have two Allure Darkness for deck thinning, triple copies of Called by the Grave, and then we have two copies of Cerulean Skyfire. So to special summon Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, using its own procedure, you can also use face down spell cards you control. Once per turn, while you control an attack position, Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, you can negate spell and trap card effects activated by your opponent, and then change one Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder you control to defense mode. If Uriah, Haman, or Raphael of Phantasm control, you deal chain no damage for the rest of this turn. Literally just negates on the opponent. Then we have two Fallen Paradise. Your opponent cannot target your Haman, Raphael, or Armatile, Chaos Phantom in your monster zone. Card effects. Also, those monsters cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control them. If you control Uriah, Haman, Raphael, or Armatile, you get to draw two cards. I think that's literally where the best value comes from this card. We have one Foolish Barrel, one Instant Fusion, one 1-for-1, and then we have triple copies of the Opening of the Spirit Gates. So when this card is activated, you can tutor for Uriah, Haman, or Raphael, or one monster that specifically lists any of those. So you can tutor for our friends up here, for these guys. Once per turn, you discard one card to special summon one level 0 or one Fiend monster with 0 attack defense from your graveyard. And then once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, you can add one continuous spell card from your graveyard back to your hand. Hey, we could tutor back for the Cerulean Skyfire. And then we have Triple Awakening of the Sacred Beast. So this card gains effects based on the number of Uriah, Haman, and Raphael. So +1 each time your opponent almost well summons a monster, gain life points equal to the monster's attack. 2 or more negate the activated effects of monsters your opponent controls. 3 or more, any monsters sent to the opponent's graveyard are banished. And then once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, you can add one continuous trap card from your graveyard back to your hand. So this actually recurs back for anything else that you want. And then we have Triple Imperm. Rest of the extra deck here is 1 Almirage, 1 Relinquished, 1 Crusadia Avermax, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Link Spider, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Access Code, 1 Juggernaut, 1 Gustav Max, and 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict, wrapping up your deck profiles for the day, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys think about the cool stuff here. Please leave a comment down below and what you guys think about these cards, and we'll guys them out. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCole40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCole40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcolegames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.